fulfillment in our everyday lives. Thank you for recording. Yes. It is such an honor to have you, Cicely. Cicely Carr, let me introduce her to you. She is a creative-edupreneur. It says a lot already. Is passionate about creativity, literacy, and entrepreneurship. She pursues her passions in numbers of ways, but her most current way is her new bookstore called Kindred Creatives, Art, and Literacy. Excuse me, let me restart that again. A new bookstore called Kindred Creatives, Art, and Literary Press. It is a bookstore. It is a makerspace and literacy center with the foundation of empowering Black, Indigenous, people of color voices. Welcome. Welcome, Cicely.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Let's talk about your passion for creativity, literacy, and entrepreneurship at all ages. And how did you come into, share with us your path to empowerment?
Okay, yeah, most definitely. So I would say I got that first little bite of literacy and educating young people when I did 2 years for this program called City Year in Miami. It's an AmeriCorps program. And so for 2 years, I worked with students who were in high poverty and, struggling, kids at the wrong reading level. And so we would go in there and do like literacy classes and after school programs. And we were able to do like after school programs that we wanted to do, like our passions. And so I did like a lot of arts and crafts with the kids. And so that's when I got into like literacy and understanding the power of words and how it can open up so many doors or shut them. And so I was like, I need to make sure that whatever I do allows young people to find their voices and words, because a lot of my students, they struggle to come up with their own thoughts because they don't have the vocabulary or just the context. They're just always struggling. And I'm just like, well, we can figure it out. And so I teach English. And English is such a beautiful, empowering type of, genre, I guess. You can write your feelings, there's ways to express yourself in like really cool and creative ways. And so I absolutely love that. And so when I became a teacher, every summer, I started a new creative project, right? So I'm like, oh, we have freedom. I can do something. So I literally just started a new project this past 2 weeks. I'm like, and so that has been fun. So I struggle with like anxiety and I guess I was diagnosed with bipolar depression. And so one of the ways that I, worked on it in a natural way was just creating, either coloring. So I started painting. So I did a lot of creative therapeutic activities. And that was healing. That was some serious healing. Yep.
And wow.
Yeah.
Full of imagination and you get into action.
Yeah.
And the power of realizing literacy, English is my second language too. So I so appreciate you teaching English. And you're right, when we don't have the right vocabulary or the right, not any language is perfect in its wholeness. It's a human created method of sharing our ideas and things, but wow, that is amazing. That you created out of your seeing the need and really sharing that appreciation.
Yeah.
Wow. And are you at your bookstore at the moment?
I am. We're still getting it set up. I have the grand opening on Saturday. So I've been like getting
This
things
coming
together. Yeah.
this coming Saturday, right?
Yeah.
That is super exciting.
Thank you. I'm excited. And so with this bookstore, it's not just a regular bookstore. It is like a community gathering place. I was born and raised in Minneapolis, and we have a lot of spaces where we can go, and like we did a lot of poetry readings. We would have classes, and it was just like a community empowering type place or different places. And so here in Dallas, I haven't found that. And so I was just like, I'm missing that. So I've been here for about 5.5 years. And I was just like, it's time to create what you want, right? So if you can't find it, create it. And so, I mean, I was inspired. God had planted a lot of seeds in me, and I had no idea. And I was just like reflecting, because I remember going to this really cute boutique, maybe like last week, and then earlier this week, and I just keep getting reminded of like the power of my words. So I always go into these stores and I'm just like, I want a boutique. I want a cute little gift shop. I want this. And I've been saying that over and over. And then I was like, oh my God, I manifested what I wanted, and not intentionally. I'm just like, oh my God, this is really happening. And so I was putting, products on the shelves, and I'm like, this, it really happened. And so I resigned as a full-time teacher. Teaching was killing me, unfortunately. And so I was just like, I need to be free, and I am in a much better place. I'm still scared about everything, like how I'm going to pay for things, but I'm a grinder. I hustle. I am like the creative entrepreneur. So just doing a whole bunch of different things that I love, rather than just like, because people will be like, well, if you want to make money, you can sell life insurance. And I'm like, I'm not passionate about that. I am not a salesperson. So what I need to do is make sure that whatever I'm doing, it just comes naturally out of me. And so I'm a relationship builder. Like my students, so I used to work in West Dallas, which is considered like the hood. And, my students were like in poverty, or, English is second language. So most of the students, like most of them are Hispanic. And so first generation here, and parents are probably mostly undocumented and stuff like that. So they are going through a lot. And so like, for some reason, I developed these amazing relationships with my students, and I think they needed that. They needed like love. And so I know that my gift, my purpose in life is to just be like a beacon of light and hope and love in different ways. And so I was like, yeah, we're gonna do this. Oh, thank you, Anna. She's an angel. I try. I just want to help the world. No. But yeah, thank you.
Yes, big parts from you. I'm glad you caught that. Yeah, I love that too. If you can't find it, create it.
Yeah.
Where do you think you have that in you? Like,
girl, so let me tell you, I'm in these groups. I'm in so many groups on Facebook. And one of the questions someone posted was, did your parents teach you entrepreneurship? And I was like, no, like my mama still is working to this day. And it just was, I don't know where it came from, but I do remember when I was like in middle school. Yeah, middle school. I joined a program called Young Entrepreneurs. And I think that's when everything just was like, oh, I like this. I like creating something and, selling it, making a little money off of it, but also selling my stuff, right? So I remember selling, like I was at a boutique and everybody kept saying, do you make these? Do you make this? And I'm just like, no, I don't. I just bought this and I'm selling it. And I'm just like, I'm not passionate about that. So I was like, let me create stuff so that I can have a meaning and a message behind it. And so as I got into art, I started painting. I taught myself how to paint. I just was like, I don't know. I just want to put beauty in the world. And so a lot of my pieces are all about like peace, women at peace, just being. And so my poetry book actually has a lot of my artwork in there. And so, yeah.
Wow, wow. Yes. Later on, you'll share with us our opportunity to put, what do you call it? Put in a bid for to win your poetry book.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
something to something I remember about it is breath.
Yeah.
And yeah, tell us more about that.
Yeah. So, and so what I was gonna do, so one person will win a book with a print, but I'll also download some of my favorite poems, and then there's some breathing exercises in here, and so I was gonna put that as a PDF so that everybody can get that. So I was gonna create that. But you have to sign, do the whole entry, and then I'll send an email. But yeah, so it's called Ode to Breathe Again. And so because I deal with anxiety, like I'm always like, okay, breathe, breathe, breathe. And I'm always telling myself, just breathe. I'll be having panic attacks while teaching, and it's not anything to do with the kids. It's just, life, like you're adulting is, I did not sign up for this, but it's okay. So we're just gonna have to deal. And so with breathing, like it just helps you get that oxygen in your brain and just kind of calm down everything. And so there's some breathing exercises. It talks about, my issues when it comes to like just being again. So I did have a divorce. So I got divorced in 2000 and when was that? Like 2015. And so then I took off. I stayed there for about a year, and then I moved to Dallas. And so I was just like, okay, breathe again. Like you're still alive. My mom always said, as long as there's breath in your body, there's hope, there's, opportunities. And so I remember always waking up, thank you for another day, because I'm breathing still. I got another opportunity to like live my best life. And so in the book, there's like just collections of stories, prose, and some mantras and some of my paintings. Let's see. There's the one that says, I have 4 inhalers. So my allergies got really bad when I moved to Texas. The first year I got here, I was so sick at work. I was slumped over. I had no idea. And so I was new teaching, and I was just like, I just can't miss school. I can't miss work. I don't know how to do this. Anyways, I ended up having to leave, and I went to the ER, and they're like, yeah, you have bronchitis, double ear infection. You need an inhaler. You can't breathe. And so when I took that first puff inhaler, I was like, and I just had so much more life. And I'm just like, oh my God, I couldn't breathe. And just thinking like, if you stop breathing, what happens? You die, right? I was like, oh Lord. And so I just remember like one of my students was like, Miss, you need to go to the doctor. And I was just like, okay, I need to go. And it just seemed like I needed someone's permission. And I'm like, I don't need anybody's permission anymore. I'm going to breathe. I'm just going to live life and not stress. So that's just been something I've been working on. But yeah.
That is a great, great message. And like Anna says, so brave. Anxiety is a huge issue for so many of us, myself included. So thank you, yes, for being vulnerable and courageous. And yes.
Thank you.
And this permission thing, recently started to see it slightly differently, like in community. Like one of the reasons for this summit is to gather and getting to dialogue and we get to talk and share, winning stories, our wins, and our share our struggles and challenges and what worked, what didn't. So getting into this dialogue, I found myself remembering my own power that I have a choice to breathe, like even like remembering, in community that I get to breathe deeply and something like that. So I'm so aligned to your just this natural inclination to share and to support your community and create what is not available for you, like what you want. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, and so I'm excited about this space. I had a a soft opening last Friday, and it kind of was like a snippet of what would happen in the future. So we had like 6 poets out, and it was dim, and people were just hanging out. And then we had our poets just speaking and doing their poetry readings, and people were just like in it. And it was just like, I was about to cry. Like, I'm getting chills now because I'm like, this is what I want. I want, people to come together and hear words and connect and build relationships and not a stressful place. Because I mean, like, you can go to like spoken word poetry readings, but they're always like charging. And then it's just like, is it real or is it something you just doing just to do? Because I'm just like, I really want to empower people to do stuff. And so we'll be having classes here. I'm teaching, so I'll be teaching a Creative-Preneur class, like all the ways that I'm like making my money in a creative way online. And so I'm giving people that information. And I know there's a lady, she's going to be teaching, so you want to be an author or something like that. So I'm giving opportunities to people so that they can have a platform, and then like people can rent the space out. I have a young lady who's going to be having a girls' hygiene class. It's called like Good Girls Talk. And so they'll be in here. And so I just feel like, I don't know if you guys know about Dallas, but it is huge and very like cliquey, right? And so it's like, you got to know certain people, and it's just hard to really get in. And so I'm just like, I want to break down those walls so people can really like have opportunities. So in this space, authors who are self-published and independently published, they can do the consignment program. So I have like about 10 authors on the shelves right now that are self-published, getting their words on the shelves. And then I have also makers. So I have some businesses who make their own products that they can lease a shelf and then, get their products out there. And I'm like, it's hard to get on Target shelves, right? But why don't we start here? And you have to have a portfolio when you want to start, and so I'm like, I want to give people that starting platform for them. So it's just going to be a dope little space, and it's like my heart and mind in a little box. So yeah,
it's like your heart is open for the world.
Yeah.
to like take what they need, come share their abundance. Amazing. Oh, let's read some comments.
Creative-Preneur. Yes. Love that you're creating a space for people to come into their own possibility. Wow. Yep. Most definitely. Thank you. Yes.
And so while you have an incredible blog too. And in it, you share so much, from, life to style, to food, to art and creativity. And how did you mentioned anxiety, but how did you, can you tell us more about getting involved with the hands and creating, the act of creating and making something as healing path, and also, creating what we don't have access to? Yeah.
So I started this blog like towards the end of my marriage. And so it was like one of my first forms of art therapy, right? So at first it was called Thriving After Divorce, but then I was like, that is not, my main focus. It's not about just divorce. I'm like, I am so much more than that. And so I was like, we're going to talk about just living your best life, like in all areas, whatever it may be. And so I changed it to Bougie Black Blogger. So it's just like a lifestyle blog and empowerment and just like lots of tips and and so the cool thing about it though, like when I moved to Dallas, that it took off. And so I was able to like, somehow I got connected with a lot of PR people. And so they're always like, oh, do you want to interview this person? So I've interviewed lots of celebrities here, and I'm just like, whoa. So I'm like, I don't regret my divorce, but I'm like so happy that it had, like, I'm like, oh my God. Cause I feel like if I did not step out, cause I was scared, I was like, first of all, people are going to talk about me because people didn't think I was going to get married, period. And I'm just like, oh, I'm lovable. No, I really am. I don't know. But so people
You
just,
are.
yeah, I was like, what in the world? And so people like, you're getting married. So I think I had a lot of haters. I don't know what it was. And then, but I'm just like, I don't do anything to anybody. So I just don't understand. But I got divorced, and it was like heartbreaking because I'm like, I didn't do anything to you. I only uplifted you and like added to your life. And so I just was, it hit me, it hit my ego. I was just like, what did I do? And then towards the end of my marriage, I started loving myself again. I'm like, oh my God, I'm dope. I can do these things. I can do this. And then my ex-husband was like, always watching, like, where are you going? I'm like, I'm about to go do something. I started a wine club. I was just like, where? I'm just about to go live. And then eventually he was like, I want a divorce. And I was like, bet. And within 48 hours, got the paperwork, signed all that. I was like, I'm gone. And so I needed that, like, that push. I was like, okay, I had a new like vision of myself. And so then I get to Dallas, and I'm just like, I'm going to try whatever I want to, like, just go out. Like, if I went through all that, I can definitely do some other crazy, wild, amazing things. And so the writing was the first part of my like therapy and healing. And then I don't know how I got into like watercolor and painting. And so I started with watercoloring, and then my family. So one thing, I have a really dope family. And so about my cousin's 4, we started watercoloring. I started it first, and then I brought it to them. So every time we go to visit people, we always have to have like watercoloring sessions or creating sessions. And so like I have some family here now, and we painted, I think it was Friday night, we did some paintings. And then, you know, if we travel, like it's like, okay, get your art supplies out, we're creating. And so that like allowed us to bond like crazy. And so now like it has been, yeah, so painting. And then I was like getting better. I was like, oh, I can draw this. And I just practice. And I was just like, I'll be at work and the kids stressing me out, the administrators stressing me out. I was like, I just want to go home and paint. And so I just go home, get a bottle of wine, get my stuff together, and I just paint. And it was just like, like, this is me. Like, I just enjoy it. And then someone was like, oh, you should I've made a painting of, so I love Prince. I'm from Minneapolis. And so I made like a Prince painting. And this girl was like, oh, you should bring this to the event and sell it. And I was like, sell my art? And so that was my first time selling my art. And I was like, oh my God. So it just, and then I get addicted. Like, it was like, we're going to create. And it makes me happy. And so, yeah. And then this past year was rough. So I just got back into creating because I was planning the bookstore and then finishing my last year of teaching and just trying to make it all together. They put me on medicine, like antidepressants. I was going through it, but I was like, I'm not gonna give up. And so this was my driving factor. I was like, I just need to hold on. And now I'm here. I'm like, wow, it really happened. So, and I don't know how it's worked. I'm just like, thank you, God. Because I don't know how.
It's happening. And your ability to say yes to life and opportunities that show up, and you're like, yes, I'm going to take this and turn it into something, the next and the next. That is like, to me, it's an epitome of empowerment.
Yeah, most definitely. And I'm like, that's all I want to do is like my students. Like, I just feel so bad because they don't have, like, they're stuck. They're in survival mode. They don't see further down the street than what they can see. And I'm just like, there's so much more, y'all. And I challenge them like crazy. They'll say something crazy and I'll like question them. And I'm just like, okay, I want you to figure out where this is coming from and if you really believe this. And so most of the time, like it's like philosophy class in my English classes. And so I was just like, we gonna get this together because I need y'all to be more empowered than what y'all already are. Cause I'm like, you're not about to go in the future and be like, my English teacher was Miss Carr. If you aren't doing anything good, do not put my name on it. No. But I was like, you're going to do this. We're going to get to see it. And I started a journalism class. Kids were like, I don't know, like the school that I taught at, it was like college prep, and there wasn't really fun activities, and it was just like boring, you know, and I'm like, nah, these kids need some fun. Like they need to do some cool stuff. And I didn't even ask for permission. So I didn't ask for permission. I just started a journalism club, and I was like, well, you're gonna make some passes. I'm gonna come get y'all. And no one said anything. They're like, okay. And I was like, because if I would have asked, they would have been like, oh, we don't have time. We can't do that. I made it work. I was like, we're gonna do this. And then COVID happened. So we got one publication out, and it was beautiful. And then COVID happened. And so we lost it. I felt so bad. I was like, yeah.
But you showed how to make something out of nothing, how to infuse fun. Yeah. Wow. And now you might be continuing such creative English literacy, you know, empowering activities through your bookstore.
Yeah. And so I'm also teaching on OutSchool, which is a platform for 3 to 18-year-olds. And so I have some really cool classes on there right now. So I need to get more kids signed up, but it's cool. So I have one called Girls Soar, and that's an empowerment class. I have a leadership and training, so learning how to communicate. I have passion project where, you know, people or the kids come up with a passion, and then they focus on a social issue that they want to, you know, help, but using their passions to do so. And there's just so many other classes, and I'm just like, I love educating, but I want to do it on my own terms. That's why I had to get out of the classroom.
Yes. Yeah. Out of the classroom and into the world classroom.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. If you have links to those classes, feel free to drop them in the comments. Wow. And I'm seeing your vision for your bookstore, the Kindred Creatives Art and Literary Press. Yeah.
So yeah, and so I can definitely talk a lot more about those. The classes are really cool, and then the press. So the store started off as a zine, and that's just like a little booklet, self-published thing. And then then I went to AWP about 2 years ago, and actually it was a week before COVID. And then we never went back to school, but so we went, and there was like this big, huge bookstore, and they had a whole bunch of presses and publications, but it was very like white focused. And I was just like, we need more. And so I was like, okay, BIPOC, like we need to uplift everybody's voices and not just be so super secluded. And so I got a publication. I only printed one so far. And then I started the bookstore, and I was like, we'll go back. But basically people can submit their writings, their poetry, artwork, and it can be on the website, but also a printed publication too, so that they can, you know, have that and share with other people, and they can sell it if they want to. But yeah, and then so with the classes, so I am all about, like, I love young people. Like, I don't have any kids, and I don't know if I ever will, because life. But I was just like, well, I was just like, I don't know. I would like them, but I don't know.
You get to impact them, though. Yeah, you know, that doesn't change. Yeah.
Right. And so I'll get kids in here. So they're like, this mall is a nice community. So I met some ladies, and they were like, you teach classes? I'm signing my kids up. And so their kids were in my classes, and they loved it. And I'm just like, I'm ready. I love it. I just love seeing their eyes light up, and they're like, Mom, I love that. I'm just like, that's what I want, you know? And so I can show you. So OutSchool, let me see. I can find the link for that. And it's a really cool platform where a lot of teachers kind of like resign from their regular teaching to teach online with the less like not as stressful, right? And so even people who aren't teachers, you just want, or like certified teachers, you can still go on there and teach. And I got this woman, she's teaching kids how to crochet, and you teach your passions to these young people, and it's a beautiful thing, and they just get so excited. Let me see, I'm trying to find my
Sure. I love you said to teach your passions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Passions is something that I have personally have struggled in like kind of like, what is my passion? I was living kind of like a confused state. Yeah. And but during the COVID, actually, it has really brought to light how much I like connecting to people. Maybe it was the forced oh, thank you for the link. Yes. Yes, everybody check out her links, because she's teaching, and she's teaching some creating great spaces for, you said ages 3 to 18.
Yep.
Yeah, amazing. And parents need spaces like that. And it feels like you are having kids remember, access, and articulate their truth, their passions, and how that really helps the world be a, like kindred hearts, like a community, a world of kindred hearts. Yeah. Really, really amazing. Any questions from the audience is welcomed.
Oh yes. Do you help adults? Yes, I do. And so I do. And so like I have this one class called Creative Memoirs, because what happens as adults, we do not fully like capture our lives. Like, and I'm all about passing down, people's lives. Like, as I don't know much about my grandparents or my great grandparents, and I'm just like, you don't have to write a huge memoir. It doesn't have to be 500 pages. It could be like a book of poetry. It could be like family recipes. And so I taught that class, but I also was doing a life strategist program. So I may get that back up and running, but yeah, so I do. And so once I get this bookstore up and running, I love teaching adults. And so I have, profitable passions class that I teach adults too. And so if they were thinking about starting a business, but based off of their passions, we go through that. And what else? I'm all about helping women, mostly women. Like I don't know how to talk to men, but I'm just gonna let them handle that. But yes, most definitely. So advice for people seeking to connect. Yep. And so actually so I started this company, well, it was just a project. It's called Heart Work Collective. And so that was a therapeutic art workshops. And so I was doing that, and then COVID happened. COVID messed up a lot. And so, but now we're back up and running. But just like connecting to the purposes, like prompts, and I have a journal called Self, and I can add that actually to the PDF too. Like I can send that out, and it's just a whole bunch of prompts. It has like passages, like stories, and just reflection questions, and yeah. And so that's pretty much my blog. Like that's all. I just want to help people find their purpose and live out their best life. And my YouTube channel kind of I haven't updated anything, but my YouTube does empower like my best years were my 30s and making it happen or doing it while scared. And so I do promote that, and I got to get back on the ball. But
well,
yeah.
Right now, Thank you. You
You're
have your
welcome.
bookstore, this new bookstore baby that you have.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can see how some other areas of life will, or your passion projects will stabilize, but yeah. Wow, incredible. What do you see? What do you see? How do you see the world empowered?
Empowered the world. People, so a lot of people's truths are kind of like embedded through like not like good things, right? But I feel like if you really found your own truth and like connect with it and really understand what you're thinking about, then you can definitely be empowered to make change. Because I feel like we are not in this world for ourselves, and that everything we do is supposed to help other people. And so when I went through my divorce, I was like, I guess this divorce wasn't for me. It was for me to like go through it and be able to help other women with it. So like all the bad things that happen, I'm just like, okay, it allows me to speak my truth and help others with that. And I just feel like people need to do like soul searching, some real like therapy. Like I believe in therapy. I believe in reflection. I believe in just like getting your thoughts out. And so one of my therapeutic art classes is kind of just like, it's called like life maps. And so I give the people a piece of paper and coloring utensils, and they spend about 30 minutes writing about 5 things that made them who they are. It could be bad things, it could be good things. And so a lot of people like, so when they do this, they go like, they're like, oh my God. And I'm doing it, and all of a sudden all these other memories pop up, and it's just like, you need to sit down, like you need to take time to just like get some things out and hear your brain, because I feel like we all have the answers inside. We just have to slow down life, right? And just be, right? Just breathe, take it slow. And so I just feel like when people do that, they can definitely find their real truths and then be empowered to help other people. Because I'm like, I feel like everybody has something to share with the world, and whether they want to share it, that's fine. But I like learning from people. I love hearing people's stories. Thank you, Anna. You're so kind.
Yes. Wow. That means so much. And to see you shine and being in action and, doing it anyway, feeling the fear, but taking everything as, oh, this is something now I get to share with others to help upraise and support. You're a beacon of empowerment. So thank you so much for collaborating with me on this interview. And I look forward to keeping in touch and perhaps joining some of your classes. Yeah. And let's, if there's any other questions from the audience. Okay. Yes. Would you like to come on mic?
Let's hear your voice.
Yeah, let's hear your voice.
See, you are just such Cami, you said it beautifully, such a beacon, and your energy and your absolutely raw power, your unapologetic power. I find that so inspiring. And I would love to know, when you talk about you suffer anxiety and you feel the fear and go through it anyway, can you talk a little bit about that? Because that's something I struggle with, is getting through the fear.
Oh yeah. So, okay, let's see. One thing about me, I live by myself with my puppy, right? And she stresses me out. She's supposed to be my emotional support animal, but I'm her emotional support animal. But so last summer, I was able to like, I started like searching and becoming more spiritual than religious. And so I was like working on mantras and meditations, and I do like my singing bowls, and I like sound, like sound helps me to like calm down. So I'm always listening to like lo-fi music. And so if I am struggling, if I'm having like a panic attack at work, I am very unapologetic, and I'm just like, I need to go home. If you want me to be my best self and you don't want me to snap on anybody, I need to go. And so my principal, like my supervisor, he's like, I applaud you for understanding that you need to disappear and handle your business. And so like unfortunately, like a lot of places, they don't care about your health and well-being, and, and so I'm like, I need to go. I just have to. And so just making sure that you put yourself first, because I'm like, if I'm dead, then how am I supposed to help folks, right? If I am struggling, if I'm in the hospital, broke down, like how am I supposed to be uplifting, living out my truth and my passion and my purpose? Like, and so that was something I learned like in the church there. Like if you are sick, but based off of like the things that you do. So like if I'm eating horribly, or if I'm like just doing damage to my body, then on purpose, then I'm not living in my purpose, right? So I need to make sure that I am at, a good point where I can be like, because I'm always pouring into other people. And so sometimes I'm depleted and I'm like, how am I supposed to, I get short with some people. I'm like, I gotta go. And I'm like, that's not me. That's out of my character. And so just making sure you continue to connect with yourself, like on a daily basis, somehow, some way. I enjoy spending time in the bathroom. I'm not using it. I'm just sitting in there and just like, I just need peace and quiet. Like I hide out. I'll be at the job, just hiding on my phone. Like I could be on my phone, but I'm just like, I just need to disconnect with some people, like just all the things that are happening. And then I'm like, okay, I'm revived. I can go back out and just, be good. So I'm a very bubbly, outgoing person. And so once that's not happening, then I know there's something that's wrong. And just knowing yourself, knowing your body, knowing your quirks. Like I've been noticing like my heart racing, like heavily, like just beat, like I can feel it. And I'm like, is that normal? And I was like, that's an anxiety. And so I knew I had to stop drinking so much coffee and just, just paying attention to yourself. Like, cause I'm like, ain't nobody else paying me attention. They're not taking care of me. I have to take care of myself. And so just knowing that, you got to be your biggest champion. And one thing I started doing was parenting myself. Right. And so I will be 37 in September, and I am a mama's girl, and she's not here, but there's like things where I'm just like, okay, Cicely, you got to get it together. Like sometimes I don't clean and I'm like, Cicely, you got to get it together. Okay. It's okay. Go ahead and rest. Like I just, I parent myself. I'm like, it's okay. Like, I don't want to be my worst critic. I just want to be like my biggest champion and make sure everything's good. But yeah, so just always connecting to yourself over and over, just making it a habit, because sometimes we forget about ourselves because we're so wrapped up in everybody else's world. But yeah.
Can I ask one follow-up question?
Yeah.
So you're talking about putting yourself first, which is great, but you need a whole lot of courage to do that.
Yeah.
And it's really hard. Courage is hard. So can you speak to that?
Yeah, I will definitely say this is brand new, right? So like I was never someone to buck at authority, or I never I just always followed the rules, right? And I just felt like I was dying. Like I literally, so my hair fell out a couple years ago while teaching. I got stomach ulcers. Like I could feel myself just like dying. And I was like, okay, I gotta make some change. And so because I want to live. And so on my voicemail, it says, I'm living my best life. I'm like, I want to live. And in my book, there's a poem, what is it called? It was like, one of the lines was like, why hold my breath? Oh, it's called Don't Hold Your Breath. And it was talking about a boy, right? I'll read it. It says, do you like me? Yes or no? I didn't leave room for maybe, because maybe it's confusion. Instead, he wrote, don't hold your breath. And that was the best advice any man could give me. I never held my breath again, waiting on someone to choose me. I never held my breath again as I waited for someone to see me. I never held my breath again as I waited for someone. I saw me, I chose me. I walked in and out of every space, breathing, sucking in all that air. I wanted to live. And so I inhaled and exhaled with every ounce of me. I stood tall. I taught with confidence. I questioned everything. Air was life, and I wanted to live. I remembered that amazing piece of advice and wondered, why would I hold my breath? And so just knowing that, like, there's opportunities, if you continue living, like, it's beautiful, like, choose you. And it took a long time to get there. So, I mean, like, I held my breath throughout my whole entire marriage. Like, because I was scared to, like, hurt other people. And I'm just like, I'm not happy, but I'm just going to make sure you're happy and forget about myself. But then I was like, who am I? And then I was like, I'm losing myself. Like, I'm like, that is not who I am. And so just breathing and just choosing you. And it took a lot. Like, it's a battle. And, you know, confidence was never, people think I'm confident back in the day, but I was just really outgoing. But I just was scared out my mind for I was like, I don't know. I just hid behind people. I was never like the lead. I was always the friend or the sidekick. And I was just like, I'm tired of just living in people's shadows. And I'm like, that's not fun. And it's not that I want to be in the lead, but I want to be the lead of my life. Like, I want to stop I don't like the overcast. I'm like, I want to go enjoy life. And so I was like, I'm going to take a trip. I took a trip by myself for one of my birthdays. And I'm just like, I don't want to wait. Because at first I was like, I want to wait until I get married. I want to wait to do these things. And I'm like, why wait? Time does not stop. And so you're just going to have to keep going. And someone on the journey will find you, or they going to have to catch up, whoever is meant to be in your life. I'm like, wait, I'm gone. Come with me, or I'll see you when I come back around. So, yeah.
Yes, I am taking away that, being a champion to ourselves includes self-care. Yeah. And wow, thank you.
Thank you. Y'all got me tearing up over here. I'm trying not to cry. No.
You are full of energy, vivaciousness, life, and the giving aspect of you is just so, it makes others easy to receive. Yeah. So thank you so much. Would you like to share about the free gift opportunity for others?
Yes. So what I will do, so if you sign up with that link, and I'll just get the emails and I'll just start sending out the PDFs. It'll be, I may just put my what is it called? Like a PDF of the self journal, and then some of my favorite pieces from here, like the breathing exercises. But yeah, so just sign into that, and then I'll create it and then send it. And then like one lucky person will get a real book. And all that.
The poem you read was really beautiful. Like Anna says, yes. Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing. Is there any? Yes, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I appreciate you for just giving me this platform and speaking. Like, I'm still working on finding my voice and speak, like, because I'm used to interviewing a whole bunch of people, and now it's like, oh my God, I can share my story now. And so this is really empowering, and I definitely appreciate you putting this on. This is powerful, and I'm just super excited to meet other people and just connect and build relationships. Sorry, I'm
tears of joy. Yes,
yes.
Life is overflowing out of our eyes. It's beautiful. Thank you so much. And our tech support has dropped the link, so sign up. And yes, I concur with Anna. Your voice is strong. Your story is powerful, and let it be heard. Thank you for this short time.
I appreciate it. It was a pleasure. Thank you all. Thank you, Anna, for all those questions and just vibing with me. Yes. Thank you.
Until next time. Yes. And
is it your birthday today, Cami?
It's my half birthday, and that's why I started it today.
Okay.
Yes. I'm halfway around the sun, and this is my way to celebrate, you know.
Okay.
We're trying to sign up.
Yeah, let me go try.